Hello there. So I think it's about time I tell you guys a story that I've kept from you for quite some time. In fact, I think it's more or less a series of stories, I'll refer to as the service stories, complemented by this lovely Christmas tree that we have set up now to get you in the festive mood. So let's just jump into it. I was 16 years old when I got my first job at a little pizza restaurant. I used to work answering phones and helping customers and cutting pizzas. It was a lovely job. And then eventually I started serving, being a waiter. Hi, would you like some pizza? That was me. I think I was a pretty good waiter. But I was a bit immature at this time. I was a teenager, I was a prankster, I did silly things, and we used to have customers all the time. They'd come in and they would complain that our knives weren't strong enough to cut through butter. And I was like, listen, I'm going to prove this wrong through hypothesis. I'm learning about science in school. So I took one of these little knives and I took it on the counter, nothing. I put it on a soda cup, nothing. Took it to pizza crust, nothing. Took it to the computer screen. Okay, so it sliced through the computer screen. What? I didn't expect that. I just left it, didn't say anything about it. Our district manager ended up coming in like a week later, and he saw that and went, What? Who did? Evan. He just knew it was me. You see, the thing is, I had a history of accidentally breaking things in the pizza place. It wasn't on purpose, but it was probably due to me just being really stupid. At one point, I wanted to test how strong the conveyor belts were that delivered the pizzas, so I stuck one of our pliers in there. It definitely can't withstand pliers. We actually had a broken conveyor belt and we had to get it replaced. I also like to test the soda bags. How strong is this soda bag? Can it withstand a couple pokes with a knife? It can't, actually, because it started leaking everywhere and I had to, I had to sticker it up. So, yes, I may have been dumb. I may have done little tricks like, poking holes in the employees' cups so that when they drank, they got dribbled on. That's how dumb I was as a kid. But I never got written up for any of this stuff. In fact, I did some really bad stuff. Like, when they wanted me to do busy work, they'd make me clean the lamps, or they'd make me throw boxes away into the dumpster, which was just annoying that I had to do that because I wanted to help out in the best way, not to go to the back and throw boxes away. But at one point, I wanted to make this a fun experience. So instead of just picking up the boxes one by one and throwing them in the dumpster, I would kick them. And I'd kick them from the door right over the fence into the dumpster. It was a fun game. I was really good at it. Except the one time when I went to kick it, it was a perfect 45-degree angle. Boom, nice arc, nice power. I was going to go right in. And then a server walked by and hit her in the eye. And she had to leave early because she had a bloodshot eye. However, I didn't get written up for that. In fact, there was just a rule that my manager told me. I was 16 at the time still. And he said, Evan, from now on, you're no longer allowed to kick boxes more than 6 inches off the ground. What? What? You'd think the rule would have been stop kicking boxes. But no, as long as they're, within 6 inches off the ground, you're fine. Really? All right. I mean, that makes sense. Another time, they used to make me, clean the lamps when it was dead in the place, and it was really annoying. And I thought, instead of, walking all the way around the lamps with the sanitary cloth, which I'm not going to call anymore, I'm going to call that a cleaning cloth, I would just take the lamp and go spin, spin, spin with my hand on it, and it would clean them very fast using physics. However, I did it a bit too fast for one of them, and the lamp fell through the ceiling. Just boom! Just broke the table. Not my fault. They never made me clean the lamps again. That's an important part. But then again, this stuff just happens to me. It's not my fault. All this stuff happened, but I never got written up until a little bit later on. In fact, there was this one day when I was up. It was very, very busy Friday. If you've ever been to a pizza place on a Friday, you know it's busy. There's people phoning us every freaking second. There's customers coming in, and I'm a server at this point, trying to deliver pizzas and make my customers happy. However, there's only one other worker there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where is our new manager? What is he doing? And my friend Jazz was like, oh, he's in the back talking to Dan, district manager. And I was like, well, oh God, they need to hurry up. So I went back to working with my tables. I tried to help some customers out, answering all the phones. And then, oh my gosh, I turned back. There's even more customers. What am I supposed to do? I can't help my table. So I was like, where is the new manager? And she was like, he's probably just talking to, Dan, the district manager. And I was like, tell Dan to get off his fat, lazy butt and get up here and do some work for once. At that point, I got a little tap, a little love tap on the shoulder. Yeah, just turn around. It was Dan. And Dan, he doesn't look like he was back there. I think that person was bluffing on me. He was up here to get a drink. So he tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around. There he is. And he was like, what am I now, Evan? Am I fat? Am I fat and lazy? He's not the skinniest guy. He's a bit big boned, so it's not the nicest thing to say to someone like that. And I was like, I just turned redder than a big old red tomato pizza. And I just walked away. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to work. So I just ran to the tables, and the tables were like, sir, are you okay? And I was like, I'm good. Here's your drink. And, Dan was fine about it. I ended up coming back. We talked about it a week later. He was like, listen, Evan, if I wanted you fired, you'd have been fired a long time ago. Well, I didn't even get written up for that. What a nice guy. He liked me so much. I was such an entertaining employee to have that even after calling him fat, lazy butt, he still liked me. So that's nice. Still wasn't written up until a Saturday. It's very busy. They wanted to have so many servers on staff to answer the phones. I got paid $2.13 an hour to not only help my tables that might tip me, but also answer phones and cut pizzas, and it was a bit much. So we had 2 phones in the service station, and they were just ringing nonstop, so I thought of a good idea. I'll just disconnect them. Now I don't have to answer the phones. I can focus on the tables, So, and also, I'm walking back with some dirty dishes, and I see this pair of keys, this shiny pair of keys, just sitting there on the counter. And I'm not 2 years old, but I like keys. So, I don't know why. Don't ask me. I picked up the keys, and I'm going to put them in my pocket. And I just kept going on about my day. I kept doing the jobs, and I was working, I was cleaning. And then 20 minutes later, there's this big, freak out in the front of the office. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, we're backed up. We haven't had a delivery in 20 minutes. There's 8 of them, and we can't deliver them because Tori lost his keys. And I just pulled them out of my pocket, and I'm like, oh, these? Right, these keys? Here you go. The look of pure fury. They were like, what? And why haven't you been answering phones? I was like, I disconnected the phones because they were ringing a lot. And that was it. Evan Edinger got his first write-up slip, and it said, stop disconnecting phones and taking keys. I don't know why I took the keys, okay? They were just there, and they were shiny, and I took them. I never did it again, and I also never disconnected the phones. But then on, they started putting more people on that were higher paid to answer the phones on busy nights. So I helped positive change through a write-up slip. I finally had a write-up. However, the worst case, the worst write-up, the funniest time that I've ever had at this pizza place. It was a very busy day. I feel like it's always a busy day. And my manager looks at me and he says, Evan, I need you to take the trash out. And I'm like, I have a lot of tables, man. I'm trying to help them out. It's like, you need to take this trash out right now. So I'm like, ugh, I'm this scrawny little 17-year-old. I can't carry this giant bag of trash. So I end up taking it out the side, and I'm an optimist. So I'm like, it's a nice day out. It's beautiful. I'm just going to enjoy it. So I start swinging my bag like I'm in a gosh dang movie. And I'm like, this is such a heavy bag. Every time I swing it a bit forward, I feel like I lift off my feet a bit. That's how heavy it is. So I start swinging it more. And I'm like, yeah, I am a rubbish helicopter. I am getting some major lift off. And I'm just imagining myself just throwing it and then me flying through the air with it. Now, that didn't happen. However, I'm almost to the giant dumpster, and I'm just swinging it around, and I get this one big swing, and for some reason, I don't lift off my feet as much as I did before. It's actually a lot less, and that's because something else happened. My long, lanky arms are so long that on that final swing around, the bag hits the asphalt, rips at the bottom, and when I come up, it just unloads into traffic. And these pizza crusts and these wings and these sauces just hit this car as it's driving by. And the guy looks at me like, what? And I looked at him back like, I don't know what that was. I didn't do that on purpose. And so he just keeps driving. And there's just a lot of just wings everywhere and trash. And I'm like, crap. So I hurry up and get a broom. And the boss is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just doing some extra cleaning, some initiative, okay? And I grab the broom and I'm sweeping up all these crusts. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can wing it and get away with this, and I throw it in the dumpster, and everything's good. I go back to work, and then I recounted this tale to another server who thought it was so funny, she told the manager, who got so pissed that I got my second write-up slip, which said, Evan, you need to act more mature and make better life choices at work. That's the best write-up slip I've ever received for just trying to be a rubbish helicopter. But this is probably not the best video to upload when I'm looking for a job, but I am way more mature now. I hope you've enjoyed these silly stories and wondering how I never got fired. It's because I was so good at my job that these little tiny things I did just didn't really matter. But thank you for watching. If you did like this, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I make new videos every Sunday. I can't believe I made this video in one take because that was not planned. Anyway, I will see you guys next week. Happy December. Goodbye. Sorry about the lack of puns in this video. There wasn't much room to add any. Sorry, that was rubbish.